This is Coach E on Coach Talk, a HME production.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Coach Talk. I am your host, Coach E, and you have just entered the premier destination for business and finance tips. I'm so excited to have such special guests in the studio with me today. I have with me, I'm going to make sure I get this right, okay? Because I botched it up earlier as we were entering into the studio. But justice and change for victims of nursing facilities. I have Joanna and Tracey, founders of the organization, with me. Tell everyone hello.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here.
Nice to be here. Yeah. Awesome. So, Tracey and Joanna, can you tell the listeners and viewers exactly who you are and why each one of you decided that this was a mission for you to pursue?
Okay, I'll go first. So for me, I lost my mom in a nursing facility due to abuse and neglect. And this was the catalyst for not only recognizing the lack of support for family members that are going through this, but also the lack of accountability for nursing facilities when these things happen.
Well, for me, I lost my dad in a nursing facility. He was only supposed to be there for a short time, and things happened where he was not sent to the hospital in time. And he was found on the floor of his room. And that's what made me, I saw Joanna's story. After that happened, I saw Joanna's story on the news. And and that's how we got together and started this organization, because we were like, hey, it's something people need to know about this. Because in my situation, in my dad's situation, Virginia Department of Health, of course, everybody investigated, but the facility got no repercussions, no anything. There were nothing, no accountability at all. And so this is something that happens. A little bit about me. I was a nursing assistant, so I worked in the profession. This is something that has happened for decades. And we felt that people need to know. Families need to know that, hey, that's not how, there are a lot of things you need to know that happens in facilities, and these facilities are not being held accountable. So when I saw Joanna's story, we got together and said, things need to change.
Okay. So let's kind of break down nursing facilities. We're not just talking about nursing homes, but we're also, is rehabs encompassed in that, or we're mostly focusing on nursing homes?
Well, typically for a rehab, you go to a nursing facility. That's typically what happens. And nursing facilities, they advertise themselves as skilled nursing facility.
Exactly.
And so it's supposed to, and I use the air quotes, they're supposed to be skilled in all things such as dementia, such as PT, OT,
Exactly.
a wide range of skills that are supposed to be in place under one roof.
Exactly. So a lot of times they will have one section for the permanent residents that are there for nursing care, and then you would have a skilled hall for rehab, different rehab entities where they would stay for a short term, such as my dad. He was on the wing for the short term wing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this, but wow. So when I was caring for my grandfather, he had he had congestive heart failure, a huge history of strokes and heart attacks, and he went to a rehab facility, which now I'm finding is called a nursing facility, because nursing facilities, I'm assuming, is the broad word that they use to encompass all of these different entities. So at the time, he was 93 years old, and he was in the room by himself. And when I came back, he's trying to tell me that the man next door, he's pointed and telling me he got COVID. And I said, well, wait a minute. When I left you, you was by yourself. Now I'm back and there's someone in here. So apparently they redid the beds in the facility and put the man with COVID in the room with my grandfather.
And your grandfather wasn't COVID positive.
Was not COVID positive, but got COVID as a result of the gentleman coming in here.
That's what happened during that time. They were doing that a lot.
That's what happened.
Nursing facilities were doing that a lot. And it also speaks to the point, even before the pandemic, my mom was in the nursing, she was in the room, she had mild dementia, but she had a resting brain tumor, which would have been a third. And then she had Parkinson's, right? The thing is, they put her in a room with somebody who doesn't know how to deal with somebody who has any form of dementia. So putting people in place with other people, the matchup is usually not conducive, I wouldn't say that word, to the health of either of them, because you find people approaching other people, and if they're a roommate, they'll go to the other roommate while they're sleeping. And if they're in that mode and something happens, you know, you've heard of residents beating up on other residents.
Wow.
With dementia, you know.
Wow.
So the skill part is, hopefully we're thinking that if you're saying skilled, that you mean, okay, with everybody that has dementia, they really should be in their own area. And you need to have nurses and CNAs who are skilled in knowing how to handle them.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So yeah, it's a big problem with, there's so many problems with the nursing facility industry. It's a big money-making thing. You follow the money trail, you follow the source of the problem.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So your personal stories, and just to make sure I'm hearing right, is your personal stories is what led you all into developing the organization. And the organization is a nonprofit. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And so you all didn't know each other at all.
No, not at all. Like I said, I saw Joanna's story on the news after going through what I went with my dad, right? And the facility getting no accountability. I was all over, I had posted all over Facebook on my personal page, trying to garner, you know, awareness, trying to bring awareness to the issue.
Right.
And so, but I really didn't get any luck with it. The page that I created, I got some hits, but not a lot. But like I said, I was new to it, except for working in the profession, you know, but this was a whole nother thing. Now I lost a loved one, you know, so
Right.
and then I'm watching television and I see Diane Walker with Joanna and Haskill. And I was like, oh, I contacted Diane Walker. Right. And I said, please get me in touch with this lady. Wow. You know, and we got together. At the time, there were two other ladies, you know, and we got together and contacted Joanna. You know, I had Diane Walker contact Joanna. And that's how this organization came about, because we talked about it and said, this is happening too much. Yeah. There are too many families.
And that's why Diane Walker got a hold of me, because there was already an investigation on other issues in that nursing facility in particular.
Wow.
And so the mushroom effect, I got, you know, to communicate with Diane about my story. The Department of Health got involved because I typed an 8-page complaint report to the Department of Health based on everything that I'd seen, what my mother was experiencing. I mean, she wanted meds. She had trouble getting her meds. Remember, she had a sitting brain tumor on her head. She needed these meds, and also the fact that she had migraines because of it. So anyway, Diane Walker did get a hold of the story, and it was on Channel 6. Tracey's was on, actually no, mine was on Channel 12. Tracey's was on Channel 6.
Channel 6 with Melissa Hippolyte.
Yes. And it mushroomed from there.
So let me ask you this. Is that facility still in existence now?
I am glad you asked that question. Why? Because yesterday I called Tracey and I said, Tracey, guess what? They changed
But see,
name.
that's what happens.
Right.
We get a bad reputation. Okay, change our name
that's exactly,
because the census is society will forget
Right.
and think that we're a new facility. They'll forget all about our bad history because we just changed our name.
So let me ask you guys, do you all have a way of getting complaints and creating something for other people to be able to see? Because I know we rely on Google to kind of tell us what people's ratings are, right? But I'm assuming that if they change their name, that those ratings are not necessarily going to follow them because they're going to change their website, they're going to change their domain, they're going to change all of these things. So my question is, are people able to reach out to you guys and find out information, maybe help with researching these facilities that their, parents or grandparents are going to maybe minimize the risk of having to experience some of the things that you all have had to deal with?
We were very hard at that, extremely hard at making sure people are informed. And yes, they can reach out to us. We ask them to reach out to us because we're here to help. We're here to help them get the information they need, make the contacts and the connections that they need. But a big part of it is also giving them information about laws that actually protects them, that nursing facilities will not let people know. Wow. They don't tell you these things. So it's almost as if you don't research or you know somebody that knows about it, you will never know. So it's our mission to make sure that people know their rights and the residents know their rights and give them the information that they need to go forward in the journey.
One of my business mentors, he would always say, you don't have rights if you don't know your rights.
Hello.
And we're seeing more and more every day that is deeming to be true.
That's
deeming to be true. Right. How about you? The facility that your father was in, are they still in operation?
They are. They haven't changed their name because I check all the time.
Okay.
Whenever I'm in the area, I always check. They haven't changed their name. They are still running the same. And I want to say something, because this is something that happens and a lot of families need to know. In my dad's case, CMS wrote me. They wrote me a letter explaining, because I was furious that they didn't get any repercussions for what happened. I'm like, a man died. And clearly, when they went in and investigated, they confirmed that, yes, they even asked the facility, do you see that this is neglect? This man was vomiting and you didn't send him to the hospital? Do you see that this is neglect? And they said, yes, we do, in the actual report. And so CMS didn't give them any reprimands for that. So I reached out to them. I reached out to CMS and they sent me a letter and they said that the reason why the facility didn't get any financial repercussions or anything at the time is because previous years they had a good standing, which I do not believe, but in previous years they had a good standing. So now a man has died, you're not going to reprimand them because they had a good standing in previous years.
Wow.
So that's something that happens and families need to know. Families need to be aware. And what we do, we try to give families the tools to navigate this journey. This journey, Joanna, I can tell you, it's hard. When you have to have a loved one in a rehab facility or wherever, even if it's for a short time, it's hard when you have to make that decision to do it, So we give the tools to navigate that journey, anything that a family member will need,
Yeah, and it's, with the cost of living going up, we're seeing more generations in one household. So it's more so son and daughter, granddaughter, grandson are now taking care of the elderly, and they're still working full-time jobs, right? I didn't get to stop working. Now my workload got really low, but I didn't get to stop working while taking care of my grandfather. And so when you have instances like this, because when he would go to the facilities, it was like, okay, I still got to move. I can't go and just sit at the facility all day. I still got to do what I got to do. It's a scary feeling. But to know that you guys exist, to say, hey, you know what? There's somebody out here that has done some of the research, that knows more than I do, that I can actually reach out to. This is great. This is really good. Before we continue on, can you all tell the listeners and the viewers how they can reach out to you if they have any questions or just want to vent about something they may have been experiencing?
Yes, so they can reach us. We have a Facebook page. Our email address, Facebook is JC for our email address. I'm sorry, JC for NF victims at gmail.com.
Okay.
We have a website that's JC for NF victims RVA.
Okay.
.org.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
RVA.org. Yeah.
It just doesn't change for NF victims. RVA.com.
The website.
The website.
Just doesn't change for victims of and then you can reach us at each of our phone numbers, 804-839-1833 or 804-252-7973.
Okay.
So that's ways they can reach out to us. And like I said, we have information that we can direct them to whatever situation they're having.
So you will also, if I'm not mistaken, y'all will show up and advocate as well on their behalf. Now, let me ask this.
Wait, that's once we're let in.
Oh, once you're let in, oh boy. Okay.
I gotta say that because
that's one of the problems, right?
One of the issues is now that the nursing facilities are familiar with who we are. That when we come in, they know we're going to be paying attention, and that we're going to, and that we know what should and shouldn't be in place. So once a nursing facility is allowed us to come in, we don't have a problem. We'd like to come in. We would like to be able to spend time with the residents, talk with them, play games with them, pray with them. We would like to be able to do that once we're welcome to do that.
So I'm going to ask this question because, people always think the worst, like you said, if you're let in. But you're really not here to be a nuisance to the facility. You would actually prefer to help the facility. Am I right?
Exactly.
That's absolutely correct. And what we've decided is that this is an opportunity for these facilities now at this point and at this juncture in the season. This is their opportunity now for them to turn things around, where people now have become so much more aware, that are speaking out more about it. This is, even if they look at it from a business standpoint, they, having to close a facility and reopen in another name and all go through all that. Why not just give quality care?
Right.
Why not just do the right thing? And that way you won't have to. And so this is in this season, this is a perfect opportunity for nursing facilities and the companies that are purchasing them at record speed.
Right.
This is a good opportunity for them to turn the tide and now focus on actually giving the residents quality care and properly training their staff.
And this is really an opportunity, really, where I believe, from my standpoint, that you all can be advisors to them in different things because you all are more aware and you're not as engaged in the day-to-day. This is a great opportunity.
It is.
To be an advisory panel. I mean, kind of talk from that standpoint, because this is for everybody to win. Because
exactly.
Because I work the profession and taking care of 25 patients a day, how can you give quality care like that? I used to look back and all my call lights were on. How can you give quality care like that? Mandated staffing has to be. It has to happen.
Well, so can we talk about the post-pandemic? Because, we dealt with life pre-pandemic, right? We dealt with pandemic and now post-pandemic. Now, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but everywhere is light in staffing now.
Well, let me raise an eyebrow on that,
Mhm.
because we often discuss whenever there's an inspection due at the
I
nursing
can attest
facility,
to that.
there's no more short staff. A
Then
matter of
there's
fact, you have
exactly.
more nurses and CNAs than you
do.
need,
You do.
because they know ahead of time when there's going to be an inspection. And so you have a whole sea of staff that are all over the nursing facility.
They
Yeah,
just miraculously
exactly.
show up.
But
Miraculously
that's
show up.
during inspection time.
hmm
But
I've seen
once
that
the
too.
inspection, yeah, because I worked it. So once the inspectors leave, it goes back down to whatever,
Mhm.
and you're back to working extremely hard. And mind you, everything still has to be done. Baths, showers, activities, everything still has to be done with that 20 to 25 patient care load. So the toxic, again, to your point, the staff, it's the toxic environment. When you're working in that toxic environment, you're short staffed, you already have a toxic environment. So you have workers that start to think, well, I'm only going to work but so hard, and it can't be about, well, I just need a paycheck, so I'm gonna work just enough to get the paycheck. You have to actually care. You have to actually care when you get in this profession.
It's funny because I was out with one of my best friends, and we were somewhere, and the lady's attitude was just horrible. And I mean, from the time we drove up, and I looked at my best friend and I said, "Look, I still don't understand why we show up for jobs that we are not engaged in anymore. There's so many jobs out here in this marketplace that anybody can go anywhere. So and so I take this time that if we're talking about you, because see, this is the thing about coach talk and coaching and who I bring on. This is never a moment of I'm beating somebody up.
Right.
This is a moment of enlightenment, because sometimes we have to try some things, and then after trying some things, realize that might be not the thing that we are the best at, or maybe our season in doing something has now expired. And maybe you do love taking care of people, but maybe not to this capacity anymore. There's always opportunities in the nursing field that we can all, look at and find opportunity in. But as you said, Tracey, when you're in an environment that is toxic and that is a high demand, you can burn out,
and that's
very easy.
Yeah, burn out. It's not an easy job, and burnout is one of the causes of people quitting, not showing, or calling in sick because they're burned out.
Right. So, kind of looking at it from a career aspect, are we still not hiring enough nurses, period? Are not enough people going through nursing school and getting the credentials, do you believe, in order to help with the mandate that it really is placed on some of these nursing facilities?
Well, I will say this, and just from my experience, people I've talked to, I've had some nurses actually tell me that they were trying really hard to get out of the profession because they were so burned out.
Wow.
So I think that has, a lot to do with it, that burnout, so you have nurses that are actually getting out of the field.
Right. And not enough people coming in.
And not enough people trying to come back in to help, because it is a hard job.
Wow. So if you don't know, there's a high demand still for nurses. And I guess the pandemic didn't make it any easier.
Exactly.
Right. But by the same token, I'd like to also add that we're not against the nurses and the CNAs that work in these facilities.
Oh, absolutely.
We understand what they're dealing with. We've both seen it. Tracey's worked it. And there are some people that are working, like you said, in the field that really should not be. I mean, I had a CNA that I had to report the way she was treating my mom. I had to report it to the director. When the director pulled her in and said, look, would you like someone to treat your mother like that? And she said, I hate my mother.
Oh, Jesus.
So my thought was,
why are you
okay,
here?
why are you here? Exactly. But she needs the job. She had children at home, and this was the option that was available to her. So she took it. And
Wow.
now she's caring for elderly people that can't defend themselves when she hates things. Like, how do you say that? You okay with treating an elderly person in the wrong way because you hate your mother?
Wow. Yeah, that's
So, but we're not against them. We just want them to be able to also speak out against the things that are happening and what's going on. Because if you see something, you should say something.
absolutely.
And they have an accountability as well to report what they see.
Yes. So, we're going to wrap up here. We have gotten so much covered today. And I'm just like overwhelmed with the knowledge, and just even the things that y'all are saying has my brain really moving, like, wait a minute, what can I do? What would you say that everybody that's listening or hearing, what are some things that you feel like we as a community of people can do in order to help what you all are doing really take off to the masses, to help our elderly? Because one day we all gonna be old.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I think, and I know Tracey can add to this, one of the things most important is to speak out, and to actually be brave enough to do it. A lot of repercussions family members feel happens to their loved ones if they speak out in the nursing facility. That's very real. But speak out anyway, because it's happening anyway. And join an organization like ours, partner with us so that we can get changes to happen where laws are made. Be a part of our organization as we do outreach. We have a birthday gift program, and we send in birthday gifts to a facility that we adopted every month to the residents there. I mean, there are different ways you can volunteer with our organization or any organization that is actually trying to do the work of bettering the lives of seniors in nursing facilities.
Our birthday program is called the Smiles and Hope for nursing facility residents.
Okay.
Yeah. And like Joanna said, speak out. If you see neglect happen, mandated. We're all mandated reporters, so we're required to speak out and not let it happen. If you see abuse happening, to our elderly population
And
in nursing facilities.
And again, can you tell everyone how to reach out to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So our email address again is JC4, that's the word 4, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, victims @gmail.com. And our web address is justice and change 4, that's the word 4, FOR, N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, victims RVA.org. Our telephone contact 804-839-1833.
804-252-7973.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on this episode.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you are so welcome. And you all can also find information about Justice and Change for victims of nursing facilities. So we're going to get this right. You can get their information as well off of our website, which is harpsoundmediallc.com. And you can also view previous shows for Coach Talk on that website as well. Make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as on LinkedIn under Harp Sound Media or Hearts Media, depending on which platform you're on. I am your host, Coach E, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode. And we want to give a shout out to Exit Resource Realty, as well as Movement Mortgage, Dive By Trampoline Park, Sky Zone, and On the Mic with Mike for being a sponsor of our show. You all have a blessed one.
I'm Chris Watson, loan officer with Movement Mortgage.
And I'm Tamara Taylor, principal broker with Exit Resource Realty.
Our passion is to help people build wealth through home ownership. So whether you're a renter looking to become a homeowner, an investor increasing your portfolio, or anything in between, Tamara and I have teamed up to help you succeed. At Movement, we offer competitive rates, down payment assistance programs for first-time home buyers, and a wide variety of loan products to help current homeowners utilize the equity in their homes.
At Exit Resource Realty, we offer a no-obligation consultation to help you determine your real estate needs. We discuss location, school districts, pricing, grants, and so much more.
When you're ready to get started, please call or text Chris Watson at 804-267-0542.
Or call or text Tamara at 804-519-767.
This is Coach E
See y'all next week.
on Coach Talk, a HME production.